All right, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, good lunch, whatever it may be in your part of the world. I am here today with a any percent run of the increasingly obscure RPG Return to Krondor. It's the sequel to the much more beloved DOS RPG Betrayal at Krondor. The setting is the same, the game mechanics are not. Much to some of the older fans' chagrin here. So we're going to open a new book. Check out that beautiful book opening graphic. Let's call this Quest for Glory 5. It's a little bit of run prep here. We're going to change the difficulty to easy. No need to make this harder than it already is. We're going to change the game focus to mage. I'll explain what that does later in the run. Trap lock mode. This comes up a handful of times. We're going to keep it on dice roll. Some proper YOLOage. Time will start on clicking the accept button here in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, this game is broken up like the book we just opened into 10 chapters, starting with, of course, the classic chapter 0. We're starting with chapter 0. This is a bit of a tutorial chapter. We're just here to pick up a party member, Jeshara here. This fella in the tunic is James, by the way. People familiar with the book universe of which this takes place. I don't know what they're overall called. Most people read the Rift War trilogy of Raymond E. Feist books, but this is James, a plucky thief character who's been in a ton of the books, the previous Betrayal at Krondor game. Jeshara is a relatively new character, I think created just for this game. Don't mind that, that's just an orphan that wants to do a side quest, but we're a little busy here. So, tutorial chapter over. We have 10 more chapters to progress through. Jimmy the Hand, that is right. Basic plot of this game. We don't return to Krondor. We've already started here, and we will be leaving Krondor later on. The plot is about to kick off here in Chapter 1. But first, let's pump up our most important character here, Jeshara. We're pumping up some spell casting abilities, and most importantly, her initiative. The earlier you go, the more enemies you can kill before they take their slow turns.
James! Jeshara! Help me! Talia's been hurt!
Here we have William. He is the son of a major character from the series Pug. Oh, that's how combat works, by the way. Angry bonk. Rah! So, as we are going to find out, sadly, pirates have accosted the Red Parrot Inn and have killed William's girlfriend slash possibly fiance. It's a very serious bummer. So we're going to get William out of a jam here. And find out that Talia here, who's not looking too hot, was killed by a huge bear of a man. So before we continue on our trek to find out who did this, we're going to do a little bit of looting here. Some of these fellows carry oil. That is fire oil. It's basically a Molotov cocktail, which is a very handy... You too. Which is a very handy early game weapon for sorting out enemies, because we're kind of useless right now. Alright, gonna skip that guy's dialogue, but basically a bunch of pirates have attacked a jail, and we need to find out why, with murder. So we're gonna go around the back here while the guards have him distracted. As you can see, this game has some very lovely pre-rendered backgrounds and some very of its era character polygonal character models. Here we are, popping in. This guy goes first. I bet it's gonna... Oh, no, okay. Usually this guy insta-kills James with a Molotov cocktail, but he was feeling generous here. This guy, though, he's sick of him. I'm not terribly stressed about that. James really only has one major contribution to the party, and it's high initiative. So if he can get off a good item or equipment use, then great. If not, you know, it's fine. Bonk. So let's see. Guy on the left was the one who chucked the oil. Middle didn't have any. Guy on the right might have some. He does. Okay. You can see the red circle around James. That means he is not long for this world, since how he just got KO'd in the previous fight. I'm probably going to keep him like that for the rest of the chapter. He usually goes first, but if he doesn't, well, you know, he's never going to be permadead. Plus, he's a great target for stuff like this. Oh no, James! This fight's a little peculiar. We want that fella way in the top left to come out of his hidey hole. Reason being is that I can't actually loot him from where he is. A bunch of guards are going to show up after this and kind of block him. And he has a piece of equipment I want to pawn off. Get over here, dude. Thank you. Prefer if you did not hit the mage. Guess you're going to. Fine. That happens sometimes. Not great in a world record attempt, but here I'm not too worried about it. William can take this guy mano-a-mano. Oh, right on top of James. That's rude. Okay, but mission accomplished. We got that guy's dead body in lootable distance here. He has these very fancy magic chainmail sleeves, which we aren't going to use, but we are going to pawn them off. No other really great loot here. That's actually for Marathon's safety. Jeshar, can you chug a feel better potion? James, none for you. All right, now we're in the jail itself. We're skipping a rather grisly scene. You can see the bloodstain on the back. But it turns out a bunch of pirates came in here, led by a fella named Bear, to specifically talk to this kind of corpsey-looking guy in the back and figure out what he did with quote-unquote it. And he didn't like his answer and got a little aggressive about it. So, gotta clear the top floor of the jail to progress the plot here. You can bonk William all day. That dude is not going to go down easy. Let's talk a little bit about what Jeshar is doing. So, as a mage, in the traditional RPG sense, she starts out with some pretty crummy spells. Oh, come on. That's just rude. But I did give her a piece of equipment called a Chaos Wand, which is a unreasonably cheap piece of equipment that allows her to cast high-level spells. And the game's justification for this, let's just give her another one. The game's justification for this is that it slowly chips away at one of her schools of magic level, but it's not one we're using in the run, so we do not care. Oh. This fella here we saw all tied up. Great drip, but this is a very goofily voiced scribe. Scribes hate the printing press, so we're going to press him about it. Turns out when you press a scribe, you find out that he was colluding with the pirates.
And I know how to use
Oh my god, I almost talked over the best line. This blade is poisoned! Alright, he might down James here. Nope. Congrats, James, he has some dignity left. Okay. This guy's like the easiest character in the whole run. Give him a little zappy zappy. We're gonna pick up, you know what, let's just take all of these. Again, weird magical scrolls of unclear assessment value, but all the shops in Krondor, they do us a real solid. They will pay us the actual worth of a object, even if we don't know what the heck it is.
He's headed.
That was our... Oh, Jeshar needs a level up because she died twice. That's right. Oops, wrong spot. Anyway, I skipped over some more dialogue. Basically, our antagonist is heading for a place called the North Gate, where we find out about a burning orphanage. Yes, I know, a lot of orphanage-based side questing here, and we are going to continue to ignore it. We're speedrunning, we're meta, we know exactly where our next lead is, and it's at a shady bar called E Bitten Dog, which is just a 10 out of 10 tavern name. I love it. And in an act of incredible don't be suspicious, they of course have a pirate ambush waiting here, just in case you didn't think that the bar was worth following up on. James's turn, you know what that means. William will do a mighty bonk attack here, and ooh, all right, perfect initiative roll here. Nice, clean execution. Good job, party. Alright, where's that Jeshara level up? I think I'll get it here when I talk to the bartender. We're going to bribe the bartender here for some information on a fella named Newt. Newt was the extremely murdered man in the jail. We're going to find out exactly why he was so important to our antagonist, Bear. I'm going to check out his old room at the inn for evidence. Once again, the pirate's being incredibly not suspicious by waiting in his room. James, anytime now. Thank you, bud. So one last fight to clear out here in Chapter 1. I promise that the whole run is not going to be James Molotov cocktailing people, but it's pretty much all he does here in this chapter. Okay, we're looking pretty good here. That guy can soft lock the game, so I'm glad he's down. Again, this guy loves corners. In this case, I don't want to loot him, but for some reason he becomes untargetable by spells until he inches forward a little bit. So we had a hold action on Jeshara the mage here. And now I can kill him. Alright, so they're going to find some more plot advancement stuff and again find out that they're going after the bartender of the Red Parrot. That was Talia's father / William's fiance, so that's the connection there, is why she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And we find out that Lucas went into a sewer level. Hooray! Okay, let's see if I can get this little skip here. Normally I have to wait for that sewer monster, but if you're quick enough, you can click on the path here and keep going. The sewer isn't as bad as it looks, and for what it's worth, the Betrayal at Krondor had a much worse sewer level. So I know how to get around this one. I know how to avoid any encounters, because for the most part, except for maybe a couple exceptions we'll see later, in the early game, there's not too much random encounters. What's random is their loot, and that does create a certain RNG element to this game. When you're going for world record attempts, a lot of runs do die if you don't get certain cool stuff in the next chapter, but so it goes. At least we know exactly what we're getting into for levels like the sewers. So here we're going to get some the local sewer gang called the Mockers, and they're going to tell us to get out of here. Fortunately, James and them go way back. He actually used to be a mocker, a little sewer boy. So he's using his reputation there to not get into a fight, even if they think he all went soft by becoming a royal courtier. Little bit of a canonical screw up here. He is a squire in this game. In Betrayal, he was a I don't know if I'm saying this right, a seigneur. His royal office seems to change depending on who you talk to. Yeah, anyway, so sewer has changed to this particular spot. This fellow pops out of nowhere and tells us we cannot progress. Two ways we can approach this. We can either do a side quest for him, which I am going to do, or you can just attack him and fight our way to Lucas, which that goes absolutely perfect. That is the optimal way to go. That said, it's an extremely hard set of fights, and they rarely go my way. So we're gonna do it the safety way. One, because this is a marathon. I know what I'm dealing with, but also it's tech. We found a neat little way to skip a fight coming up here. Basically, what that guy said is you can meet your next plot person if you take care of some sewer monsters that have attacked our beloved sewers. So normally you go and kill 2 sewer monsters and then you destroy their eggs to flag the quest as done. I don't mind doing the egg thing. I don't really want to fight the sewer monsters. We can do it. We'll probably succeed, but who has the time? You guys got stuff to do later today. Let's see if I can get this off correctly. Alright, I feel good about that. We're going to quit the game here. What I hopefully did was do a quick save right before that fight loaded in. And if I manage to get that sorted, let's see if we did here. Yep. The sewer monsters are now pacified, and we can just move on with our objective. That came up just in the past few weeks here as we were doing practice. It's a very small community, just me and one other runner, and he found that, and I was just delighted that we could show it off. I kept the estimate, though, staff, just because this game can go horribly wrong, so I hope I'm not adding to the ahead of schedule too badly here. Anyway, we destroyed some eggs. I'm sure sewer monsters can't lay any more eggs. Let's not worry about it and head back to our sewer quest giver and get on with our life. And not for nothing, I don't know why the sewer is designed this way. It doesn't really seem like it has a lot of utility for the city itself. It's just like 5 or 6 random pathways sprawling out in very strange directions. You can tell the developer's really proud of the section, though. There's actually a side quest in the casual playthrough where you come back here, which I remember when I played as a kid, I was not thrilled about. All right, we did a good job. So we get to continue the plot. And while we're running over there, let's do a little more skill dumping here. Initiative is king for everybody, so everyone can get their initiative tapped out. Yeah, it is return to Krondor sewers. That's the return part. We've cracked the code. You know, for what it's worth, I've played Betrayal at Krondor too, and I don't really remember a betrayal there either. I guess there's kinda one for one character, but it's not really relevant to you, the player. Also, not a lot of Krondor in that game either. Alright, here's Lucas. He's the one who has the game plot hidden away in his head there, so we gotta talk to him and see what the deal is. This may be our last cocktail. Oop. Unless you just don't die. You don't really get a lot of shield guys resisting the whole cocktail of doom. William, why don't you take care of Axe Guy here? And I do have a spare oil. Might as well use it. Just for fun. But the weird thing about this game is cutscenes cannot progress until everyone gets to their appointed spot in the background, which leads to weird scenes like this where no one talks until they get in their spot. Alright. Now we have found out that what the pirates have done is they attacked a Ishapian vessel. Ishap is sort of like the Zeus of the pantheon within the world of Midkemia, which is the larger continent we're on. So besides that being a huge no-no, attacking religious ships, it turns out the pirates were ticked off because there was one particular item not on the ship. We find out from the Church of Ishap that it is a big shiny crystal called the Tear of the Gods, which does something that is redacted. So what we're doing now is William has left our party to go after Bear, while James and Jess Hart are going to commission a ship raising from a place called the Wreckers Guild, the worst background setup I've ever seen. Give me the door, come on. There we go. A Wreckers Guild is a very cool fantasy concept. It's basically a bunch of professionals who know how to raise sunken ships. But this is an RPG. It can't be that easy. It turns out there's a murder, and there's no ship raising going on until we solve it. Boo. But that's alright. I know who done it. We can skip all the pointless clues and go straight to the good stuff. So, as it turns out what happened, they pinned the murder on our next party member, another mage named Kendaric. So we have to prove his innocence and find out that it was the boss that did it. A little bit of tech here that's going to be imperceptible if you haven't played the game before. Normally when you wait until nightfall, you get kicked back to a certain spot of the city, but if you exit while the game is running, you can change the time of day just with a little scene transition like that, which saves me a ton of walking back to our crime scene here. Gonna try and speedrun through this nifty little trap mini game here, and we did not get killed, which is cool. Love it when that happens. This chapter has been rendered pretty low stress thanks to a little bit of tech coming up, but we still have to deal with some of the most arbitrary pre-rendered backgrounds that make navigation of what should be a very simple building like weirdly complex. We're back at Ebit and Dog. All shadiness comes back here apparently. Turns out our murderer commissioned a group called the Nighthawks, which were more important in the last game. Here they're kind of a throwaway faction, but they're basically an assassin guild. Okay, a lot just happened there. We got stuck in a trap door. Is demon gonna go? Here we go. And instead of actually getting trapdoored into the fight, that's unfortunate. We're gonna have to take a loss here and replay. We kind of need our mage for that, but that's okay. It allows me to explain. So what happened there was I clicked on a doorway as we were trapdooring down into the basement here, which allows us to skip a very annoying fight. And then, yes, suddenly we do get a random demon, which seems like a really overkill way of getting rid of intruders, but who am I to judge? I mean, it clearly worked in our last fight there. So James is going to do what he does best and be a distraction, and Jeshara, we're going to hope and pray, gets off a mind control spell here. And she did. Great. Big thing about mind control mechanics in this game. One, you can mind control a demon. They're pretty powerful. But if a enemy that's been mind controlled is the last enemy available, it'll just die off on its own. So after it punches a very squishy mage, just keels over dead. Okay, what do we got here? So this is usually a big reset point. Reason being is we do want particular fancy magic loot that will be helpful for the rest of the run. So far I'm not sure. We're gonna find out what some of this stuff is by having it basically valued at a shop, and because I have gotten meta as all get out, I know what different items are worth, even if they won't identify it for me without actually buying it. So let's take a look here. I know what that is. That's a pretty okay magic stick. That's a defensive ring. That's garbage. Hate to see it, but it happens. Okay, here. I'll have some random scrolls then. I know you love scrolls. Shopkeep. What is... Okay. That's pretty marathon safe. I can get into that. I believe, famous last words, but I believe... Oh, also, we have ludicrous speed now. Because I did that jankiness when the character models were falling into the trap door, they can now go super duper fast, which is great because they get kind of confused and spin around. Tragically... Oh, that was a mistake. Good. Yeah, you know, whatever. We'll deal with it. We got a good item here, so we'll be able to manage. James, get in the right spot, dude. I meant to buy something there, but we'll get by. The ludicrous speed here, sadly, does not carry over between chapters. I really wish it did, because there's a couple chapters where we're doing a lot of jogging, and if we had our super speed, that would be a lot better, but as of now, I have not found a way to make it work. Right. Now, Jeshara is all decked out for the remainder of the run. She's going to be doing some real cool stuff later. But now we're cutting to Chapter 4, where William is on his manhunt to take down the main villain, Bear the Pirate. This game's a little deceptive when it tells you it has 10 chapters of gameplay. First, because there's a bonus Chapter 0, which we basically skipped. So that's not so bad. But Chapters 4, 6, and 8 are actually these good hit guardsmen. Are actually these one-off battle chapters with our boy William here. So if you're thinking you had a whole great side quest here where William was trying to hunt down the baddies, not really. It's all pretty brief stuff. Block. Off screen, we have some archers who have, I kid you not, an item called armor-piercing longbows, which is great because this guy at the axe has magic plate mail on. Armor-piercing longbows, sadly, not even can get in the game. They just paired it to these archers here. Maybe the devs thought this fight was too much of a slog, so they gifted these archers this OP weapon. But we killed Axe Boy in very short order, which is great to see. So we should be able to wrap up this fight here relatively soon. You're probably seeing me switch into the menu here for something called stances. Basically, you can change on your character's turn how they approach an attack. Aggressive is speed friendly because it greatly increases their chance to hit and a little bit of increase to damage. The trade-off being that when they get hit pretty hard, which for archers, not a problem at all. For our characters, it can be problematic, but we also have the conservative stance where they become extra good at defense and parry, that was a great fight. Which is great if you're a mage, because you're never going to hit anyone with a stick anyway. You're always going to cast spells. So they stay perpetually in conservative. James is usually in the conservative stance. William here will typically be aggressive, but we will occasionally change into conservative if need be. Now, I found a more optimal way to handle this fella here. Basically, we're going to do an interrogation. And depending on what we say to him, we'll have an easier or harder fight in the next chapter. Oops. Well, they're not mean to do that either, but whatever. We're fighting him. We're negotiating. This is good. The trade-off is we're going to be able to loot this guy, so it's all good. I don't know why they let the prisoner keep his axe. That seems like a strange move. Let's have you hold off here. Sadly, our armor-piercing longbows have gone the way of the dodo here. I don't know why they took a break. But they did. So this is a bit of a route convergence here due to my misclick, but essentially by not showing this guy mercy, we are going to get into a fight with 4 guards instead of our 2 guards, which is kind of a weird thing. Like it it looks like it would be easier, right, that you have extra guards for the next fight. However, the way they lay out the enemies in the next bit, generally I find it more favorable to go with the 2 guard approach. Wow, he's really chipping away at William there. Hope he doesn't die here. Oh, come on, William. You can do better than that. Oof. Terrible. Alright, William's the only one doing damage here, so we're just going to skip to his turn. Slowly but surely. This guy is jacked. I haven't fought him in a long time. Armor damaged. Okay, these are not favorable bonks. I think I'm actually going to have to take an L here and restart that chapter. Sorry, everyone. On the plus side, you get to see a very amusing scene here when we sort that out. This is also nice because it means my estimate is realistic. So really what I'm doing is altruistic. I'm trying to get this marathon back on track. There's some good bonking, William. Appreciated. Get some more armor-piercing arrow action here. One thing we're working on from the runner angle on this game is trying to figure out how aggro works. Generally, enemies will go for whoever they're closest to, but there are situations where they just say, screw one guy in particular. And we'd really love to figure out why, just so we can better figure out how to take care of some of these more complex fights. For example, this guy we're hitting right now, he rarely runs across the entire battlefield just to smack William around a little bit, so that was kind of interesting. Usually when the back is churned, you have a better odds of doing a connect on an attack here, so thankfully Axe Boy is distracted. And if this hit connects, it should take him down. This shield guy loves to... There we go. The shield boys in this chapter are very aggressively protective. They can block a lot of attacks if they're so inclined. Alright, this guy doesn't have a lot of HP. I think we're good. Alright, apologies all. We are back to where I intended to be here with our interrogation, which I like it a little out of hand here. But you'll see why that fight where he was just kind of unkillable is so absurd here in a second. So William here, of course, is a little ticked off about his whole dead girlfriend thing. So he's not feeling particularly kind to these mercenaries who we find out helped out Bear the villain here. So we're going to interrogate him here.
Since we'll...
Got him. That's what we should have done all along. Okay, we're in a good situation here.
Well done, men.
All right, let's crank his initiative, two-handed, and defense, and move on to chapter 5. Pack that away for a rainy day. Actually, you can take the stick. Dark gets Bone Wand. This ring will help Jeshar always get off fire-based spells, which is going to become very relevant later on here. Arm Kendarik here. There. So there's a bunch of bandits showing up. If we just rest for half an hour, I guess they get bored and leave. I'm not sure what's going on there. Fun little piece of tech. Here we find some random dead bodies. Our characters go, huh, funny, and then they move on with their lives. We're going into the one scripted fight of this chapter. These guys always show up no matter what. But we're going to have 3 more encounters that we hope we don't get. Luckily, I did get a very good piece of loot for James here. Something called the Dragon Staff, which does this. Just the one time, but still very helpful. Yeah, so while we clear out these baddies, we have picked up 2 new party members. Kendarik, the guy we absolved of murder. He's the one in green. As a mage, he's helpful. And Solon, a Shapian priest who is here to actually collect the magic Tear of the Gods MacGuffin, as only his priestly hands can. Alright, so far bad RNG. We don't want this fight, but we will do our best to clear it out. Solon the priest looks cool. In the speedrun, he's not really good for much, I'm afraid. It'd be great if he was, but generally just not a lot of utility. Let's see if we can clear these fellas out of the old lightning balls. Yeah. Actually, alright, Solon's going to be useful here. He's going to use his magic stick. It's not as good as you can see. But he tried. I gave Kendarik our Bone Wand. Bone Wand is basically a kill this guy in particular spell, which obviously has some utility. If I had been thinking straight, I would have got him a wand that also does a bunch of fire damage, but fortunately we have enough good loot here that I don't see it being a problem. Here we're going to get accosted by an evil 2-headed creature. You can see it hanging out at the top here. I don't want to fight it. Let's just map out. Alright, 2 out of 3 fights. Not the worst luck, but could be a lot better. So we'll see about sorting these fellas out real quick. Luckily, this goes a lot better when you get sweet loot like this. Alright, we are at Widow's Point. This is where we intended to go. This is where our sunken ship is. These are air elementals. You can tell by how air elemental-ish they are. The game gives me control here for some reason, so I'm going to move away from the cliffside, which confuses the bejesus out of them, and they can't actually attack me. They just kind of do that. And we just want them to go away, so Kendarik here is going to give them a little taste of Bone Wand. That's what I wanted, and they fly off. Alright, we're skipping a cutscene where Kendarik attempts to raise the ship we need, and it just doesn't work. So now we have to stop and figure out what's going on in the local area that would cause ship raising spells to just not pop off. Gonna do some Kendarik leveling up. He's gonna do something clutch for us a little bit later. And we're back with good old Will. He's got his 4 boys here, so we're going to see about attacking Bear, but we find out that it's a trap. If only we had shown mercy to Shane instead of our sword-based interrogation technique. Check out the Final Fantasy VII arms on Bear here. Like, that dude is just jacked. One thing we're going to do for safety here is have our guards go first. They are expendable. Sorry, guards. And so they're going to become our Molotov cocktail targets. And after that has been taken care of, we'll have William go and do what he does best, which is typically hit guys in chainmail really, really hard. Good hit. And yeah, here we go. Ooh, can we get him down now? Nice. Right, we're gonna have one more guard come up here. He's gonna be on archer murder duty here. Oh, he can get an attack on this guy. Don't mind if I do. This is another chapter where it's not actually a lot of content. It's just one battle, the one we see before us. Despite our super magical armor, Bear can still take away chunks of health on William. So we're going to try and monitor that. If it gets a little too low, we'll take a safety potion. But it's really too hard to ignore the murder capabilities of William there. So we just need to take down this archer and this shield guy near the bottom. And then plot will progress from there. See if this guy can do it. Good hit. Yeah, we're good there. Phenomenal. And just get a few more licks from Bear here, and then William will go up and sort out that archer for us. At the top left, you can see a status called Hero's Flurry. That's optimal because it gives us an extra round of attacks. Okay, good. Bear got bored of chasing William, and now he's just going to cut up our other guys.
You call that an attack? You puny excuse for a soldier.
William, he's immune to our weapons. Help!
Help! If Bear's voice sounds familiar, it's because he played another pirate around this time, the ghost pirate LeChuck in Curse of Monkey Island. That is the voice of Earl Bowen.
Best you can do, boy.
Watch out! He's using
Recently passed away a few months ago, but he was one of the greats.
Comes too late to save your sorry band.
Voices a variety of characters in this game as well, and
Make for the riverman.
just really one of my favorite voice actors of the time. I should skip this, but I think it's funny. Just this close-up of William's nose. All right. Speaking of the greats, one of these characters is voiced by Tom Kane, Deckard Kane of Diablo 2. There he is.
With all the pain we've gone through, you want to cause more?
You keep this up, Mayor, and there won't be a town anymore. Lyle told me that
Lyle is a drunk, and if he thinks we are going to...
Going to what? That sounded important. All right, this chapter is really dang cool, casually. This is just a classic creepy village being accosted by just generally bad stuff, as we're going to find out. Turns out that this village has been accosted by murderous night creatures, someone who's poisoning cows and killing children. This game gets dark sometimes. They're blaming it on a local herbalist that they have labeled as a witch. That doesn't sound quite right to us, and we're going to investigate. So we found out from that shopkeep we were talking to that this woodcutter shack has evil vibes, because you couldn't tell just alone, obviously. We had to have a proper lead there. Gotta take a chance on those. Okay. We're gonna find something called a night stone. Totally not eldritch or creepy at all. We're skipping a lot of meta knowledge here again. Fortunately, I know exactly where to go. And it's this very older than the town church here. We're going to use magic rock to open it up in the daytime, because we got vampires in a kind of a very old school sense, where there is some sort of master creature controlling them. Most of them are sort of empty-minded thralls here, making those creepy sounds. And as you can see, here are some of their vampiric victims, from random dudes to tragically this mother and child here. Like I said, game's a little grim. Let's see if we can take some of these down for safety. This fight is very difficult, and the way we kind of get around... Don't punch Jess hard. I need her alive. God's sakes, come on. Okay, we're going to take our licks here and restart the fight, because I forgot to save, and I don't want to quit out and make us go through the chapter again. This can sometimes happen, I'm afraid. As you can see, these vampire punches do some very serious life drain. So I just changed everyone's stance to aggressive so they get extra beat up here. Solon, why aren't you dying? Here, get in murder range, please. That's another great example of the AI being a bit of a mystery. This guy in the white shirt, I was very surprised to see that he said, screw Jess Hart in particular. I'm going to go out of my way to punch her to death. There we go. Let's try that again. The party is dead. I know. Well, that's not great either. Oh, this is terrible. Yeah. You know what? Depending on what happens here, let's actually try something. Maybe we can salvage this. Nope, we can't. Yeah, this fight's a bit of a run killer. Alright, they should go back down again. We'll give this another go. Third time's the charm. Okay, good. This guy's gonna go for not our mage. It'd be great if James was alive, but I'm not gonna lose sleep over it if he goes down here. What we really need is Jazhara to roll high on initiative. Oh, no, come on, don't do it again. Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. This is unusually bad luck. This is just ridiculous. Hasn't been this bad in a long time. There we go. Yeah, this is, well, I was expecting the marathon to get hung up on a few other spots, but it might as well be here. Alright, another James aggro. Good, good. Oh, finally. Okay. Fortunately, this is guaranteed to pop off. I made sure of it by getting a very particular item in the early game. And they're blinded. Thank you. So, the advantage of blinding, it doesn't normally do damage, but they are sun-averse vampires. It does a little bit of extra damage. That's what's supposed to happen. You clear them all out round one, and it's no big deal. And they do their funny little scream. Eesh. Alright. None of that looks that great. Sometimes they have magic rings, but I don't think any of those are particularly helpful. Quick save, because my goodness. Okay. Vampire threat resolved. Congratulations, villagers. But we still need to figure out exactly who is behind it all. After all, we do need to figure out what is keeping us from raising our ship. So we're going to do some fact-finding here. Beyond the evil night creatures, the witch was also accused of killing one woman's son and making another blacksmith's daughter deathly ill. So we're going to follow up on her. Again, skipping through the plot here. Someone's voiced by Jennifer Hale, but we're not going to hear it. Sorry. But we're actually going to save this little girl from the brink. It's like the one child we do save in the run. Turns out she had a weird amulet of Sung, who is normally a very helpful and healing god, but upon further inspection, we found that it was actually a evil charm, so that's weird. Following up on lead 2, which is the shop is out of rat poison, which reminds us that the other crime the witch is accused of is accosting Farmer Alton here of poisoning his beloved cows and sadly reducing their polygon count to dreadfully low levels. I mean, just look at the poor things. See, that's a cow. It even says so. Poor cows. Accosted by evil witch magic. But wait, what's in their feed? Rat poison. That seems odd. Well, you know what? I bet Farmer Alton has a perfectly reasonable explanation for this. Let's just have a quick conversation with him and... Ooh. He got choked by something called a black pearl necklace. That seems ominous. Well, maybe we should talk to the top witch accuser here, Father Roland, and see what's up here. I'm sure he can set the record straight and figure out just why on earth all of his key accusers seem to be part of a conspiracy here, and also why they seem to drop dead.
They've been enchanted. We mustn't hurt them.
Ah,
What are we
jeez.
supposed to do? Let them kill us?
So we're gonna blind them. These guys take a precious time here with their attacks, so we'd rather they just kind of yelp in blind pain. That was actually really lucky that Jeshara went first. She must feel bad about screwing me over twice in the vampire church. Let's get Kendaric here so I can kill the evil priest. Alright, once the round ends, his mental... yeah, there we go. So they've all snapped out of it, and they're going to say, oh, our bad for believing a clearly evil guy who just put on disguise. They're going to say, hey, can you talk to the witch and say we're sorry? Because we're not even going to bother to hoof it over there and say so ourselves. Let me quick save here, because we can get an encounter here that I'd rather not deal with. And we didn't get it. Thank you. Hopefully we've got all of our bad RNG karma out of the way. You can also kill the townspeople, but if you do that, you get into an unskippable dialogue where we have to hear the evil guy talk. Alright, so we've let the witch know that she is no longer going to be burned, and she's going to show us a prophetic vision of some creepy necromancer people who have plans for our party member Kendaric. They're basically going to kill him, use his magically energy, and get the Crystal MacGuffin for themselves. Flashing light warning coming up for the next, I would say, 10 seconds or so. I will call it out when it's over. It's very brief, but it's very annoying. And here it is. Avert your eyes. Okay, we're in the clear. So, as you recall, William jumped into a raging river rather than be murdered by bear here. And he's having your classic about to drown in a river dream. We've all had those. So here we have to fight a bunch of demons to free Talia's soul from Kahuli, the god of vengeance. Not a very nice god, as you can imagine, but Talia was pretty peeved about being killed, and so with her last breath, she cursed Bear the pirate, to death and suffering. So that's why she's currently bound to Kahuli's realm here. William will do her a solid by killing these demons and kinda sorta freeing her soul, but not quite enough. We still have to ultimately kill Bear to let her spirit rest, but this is the first step. There's pretty much no way to lose this fight. We just have to hope for good RNG on fast demon kills rather than slower. But we're kind of at the game's mercy for that. I guess the developers thought this would be like a suitably, excuse me, dramatic and cinematic way to go. But it's just tedious. As you can imagine in a speedrun, this part, we really just want it to be over as quickly as possible. So good RNG there. If William's initiative is high enough, we can skip demon churns and just sort these guys out. So right now, we're probably doing better than average on this bit, but just 2 more demons to go. This experience gain on William is extremely funny to me, because after this, he really has no more utility. His part in the game is basically done after this. So any RPG stats and the like really aren't all that important anymore.
I will have my vengeance.
Okay, 2 out of 3 optimal demon fights. If this was world record pace, I'd be very pleased with that. Current world record, I set during practice a few days ago at 1 hour and 9 seconds. Really wish I was 10 seconds quicker on that. Estimate is 120 for all the reasons you've seen here today, which is if the game so chooses, it will ruin your day. Anyway, this creepy man's going to pop out of nowhere and say, hey, do you want some dark magic to kill your enemy? And we're going to go, yeah. Hook us up. And that is the last William chapter. 2 more to go. Both of our main line party here. One of the things the witch showed us is a diagram of a weirdly specific and creepy looking symbol. And said, I'm pretty sure there is a necromancer temple below our little village, which is probably why you can't do any regular normal people magic below it. So we found it. And yeah, sure enough, creepy skeleton tomb. A quick save before doing a little puzzle here. The puzzle's not hard, but if I mess it up, I have to do some fights and I don't want to. We'll go slow here. And there. Oops. There we go. That tick-tock sound is exactly what it sounds like, a timer to fix your mistake or suffer the consequences. But that was the puzzle. Get laser beams to their little ports and off the main little skelly head there. It's a little silly. Alright, another quick save here because I soft locked here the other day. We've got to fight tentacles. Most of the game is fighting other dudes. In this game, it is... Yeah, here we go, Kendaric. You're going to shoot that fella. Do your requisite damage. I'm going to have Connor do one bonk on these guys, sometimes by closing the gap. Oh, are they not? What's going on here? Fine. Alright. Oh, okay. It just said, you know what? Screw James. They're going to try and slap him a few times. That bit's a little strange. We can't quite figure out what the tentacle monster's deal is. Sometimes you can blast it with a wand and it'll immediately go back into its little pool. Other times it'll soft lock you for doing that, and other times it'll say, nope, not having it, and it'll attack you anyway. Just a mystifying set of circumstances. Not for nothing, I love this goblin battle music. So high energy. This fight is also absolutely murder on the camera angles. But I think that was a good fight. Yeah, very good fight. Okay, great. Fortunately for fights, I can change the camera angle of the bracket keys. Alright, we are now in the catacombs proper. A lot of fun stuff to do here, but in an 80% run, we just go straight to our destination. I'm very happy we picked up this staff that James has. This is a very OP weapon, and the kind of thing you always hope to see in a world record attempt. Just because it does a lot of damage, and because James' initiative is so naturally high. Oh, wait.
What in the name of the gods was that?
Ghouls.
Ghouls. We got ghouls. See if we can skip an encounter here. We can't. No big deal. This one's pretty easy to solve. This is one of the few areas in the game that has random encounters. So most runs, I actually never see this, but every so often it comes up. Just gonna do our normal screw everybody with lightning trick and move on. So we're going to basically the end of the catacombs here. These talking skulls are gonna yell at us about it.
Of the sacred mysteries. Go back or submit to the wrath of the Dark God.
So we're going to submit to the wrath of the Dark God. That is the most quick way to do it. And fight these talking heads here. Now, I think the intended gameplay experience for this bit was to do a bunch of other stuff in the catacombs. Can we start the fight, please? Thank you. And then... after some sufficient looting and find a particular key, you can go to this door and open it. And I think this was an oversight, you can actually pick the lock on this ominous skeleton door and just go right in. Maybe that was intentional, I don't know, but it's a pretty comical time save. We're gonna clear some skeletons here. They are all over this place. We're hoping that Jethar will get a churn here to blind them all, which will render them incapable of harming us, but also do a bunch of damage. That's all, and you do not need to take a churn. Prefer if you didn't kill Kendaric, but I mean, go nuts. Do what you gotta. See if they'll all go down here or not. Nope, not quite. Have you drink... actually, I'm going to have you save that. Oh, right, you can't use your stick anymore, I forgot. That's okay, Jethar can use her lightning stick to sort out our last two skellies. Let's do one last level up on Kendaric here. Let's get his initiative in a good spot. We're going to be taking advantage of a spell with him. let's wait for these skeletons to get into range here. We're going to do another mass blinding event. Okay, what we're trying to do, let's see if Krondor can pull it off. We're going to get him to try and cast a very... Nope. Whiffed it. What we want him to do is get off a high-level lightning spell, which basically allows him to just shoot random bolts of lightning at the end of his turn. So we'll see if we can get it again. If we can't, the time save isn't like dramatic. It's just it would be really. It sometimes gets an early kill on this fella here, the undead creature, because he's got kind of a funny script in this fight where he's not killable until he does this funny levitating thing later. But you can kind of hit him indirectly, like you see there. Like whenever you do chain damage. Oh, there he goes. Okay, that works. I can live with that. So actually, let's go ahead and do this the old-fashioned way. All right, you can't do your thing anymore. I forgot. All right, Krondor should actually be able to one-shot him. Let's see if he can pull it off. Yep. Plop. And I did get a little glitch here where by making James continually hold turns, you can make Krondor go twice. That's actually cool. I've never gotten it to work in that specific way before. That is going to be some good knowledge for later. All right. Either way, the worst of this run is over. We have destroyed an ominous black pearl in a Necromancer temple, and that is enough to raise our sunken ship here and do the last chapter, chapter 10. This one's pretty straightforward. Get in, do some pretty simple fights, get out, and then one last dramatic ambush at the end. So thank you all for watching today. We have about I want to say 6 minutes left, depending on how some things go. This little ominous cloudy path here will take us to our ship. This is where I would really have loved to have kept the ludicrous speed all the way back in chapter 3, because we do have this long section of them just hoofing it to their destination. Casually, you can in fact, and it takes a lot of effort, but you can be so slow at this part that the ship will sink and the game will be over. Even at its own cinematic, which I find terribly amusing. So some zombies have risen from the deep. They're really not threatening at all at this point in the game. So we're going to see about just clearing them as fast as we possibly can. Easy peasy. And onwards to our ship. You know, I think this game has a lot of charm. Obviously, it has a little bit of jank too. But one thing that's nice about it is it actually is pretty much canonical within the Midkemia universe. There are novelizations of this game and 2 sequels, which have never panned out. Which I think is nice. In fact, you could say this is actually a very historical game about Krondor, and it reenacts some very classic battles of the era. Anyway, so here's this giant enemy crab. We're going to have Krondor hit its weak point for massive damage here in a second. Oh, excuse me, sea monster. I'm sorry, crab, I got your name wrong. Sorry, crab. There was no peaceful option. What were you even doing here? You know, I never thought about it, but this crab had a terrible day. Just minding his own business at the bottom of the sea. His home gets, like, you know, lifted up from the ground. I guess that's why he's irked. I shouldn't judge him. Quality zombie sound, no notes. Oh, one of them did not plop. Take care of that last fella. Alright, here's the really the only bit of RNG left. There's a segment here where Solon has to cast a prayer of angry seahorse go away, and while he's doing that, we just have to take our hits from this guy. So that's what we want. He dropped his spell. Let's see, can we get one more drop? We'll be good then. Yeah, okay, we're clear. So way back at the start of the game, I clicked on a particular thing called focus, whether focus fighter, balanced, or mage. All that does is it affects how often a mage's can succeed in casting a spell. And if you it affects you and the enemy. So if you have it set on mage, your heroes here will do a better job of casting spells, but so will your enemies. For this run, we have opted to focus on mage, so Krondor could get off a spell, which he didn't actually end up doing in the run, but that's okay. I forgive him. The alternative we could have done is fighter, which doesn't actually affect the fighters, but it does make magic just all around harder to cast. Kind of a big disadvantage for our mages, but in that particular situation, it does increase the chance of better RNG. At the moment, we tend to go with mage focus just because there are two real clutch moments where our casters can do something cool, and we might as well give them the chance to do so. And generally, if that seahorse does get the bad RNG, you can just heal. It takes a few extra seconds, which isn't great, but you live. So Bear has set up an ambush for us. There's an option to attack him, but we're going to deliberately not press that. It puts you at a long, drawn-out disadvantage if you do. So we're going to talk to him, but I'm going to pick the option that immediately goads him into a fight. This is, from a tactical perspective, the final fight. It's pretty unremarkable. It's just killing the same dudes that we've killed before. The way they try to adjust for difficulty is Axe Boy here on the far left has 300 HP, which is just silly. I mean, for reference, the giant enemy crab had like 150. Fortunately, we have some OP weapons here at the end of the game, so we're just going to use that. Go ahead and get into range there, bud. Yep, just casual 199 damage takedown there. So there's a creepy guy who helped William earlier. He's going to send William down in a giant spirit orb to finally deal with Bear. This is, again, kind of a scripted fight. So what's going to happen is time is going to end as soon as we morph into our final form by fusing with our dead girlfriend. So time should end on probably 2 or 3 hits from William here. You'll know when when Bear collapses to the ground here. It's a good hit. That's a miss. One more should do it. And time. Get treated to a nice little cutscene here. We split his magic cursed amulet in twain. And he plops over and dies. Yeah, it's a bit of a messy run, but no more than I expected in a marathon setting. Yeah, chew that scenery, Earl.
I'm bleeding. I can feel pain.
Well, thank you so much for watching. if you want to give this game a go, it's pretty inexpensive on GOG and on sale very often. If this is a game near and dear to your heart and you're anything like me and the other runner of this game, both he and I have been looking for a speedrun of this game for a few years until we finally got fed up and did it ourselves. So if you ever want to speedrun this game, find me on Discord, Twitch, etc. I will happily talk your ear off about it. But it's a fun little RPG with RNG that isn't pleasant. Oh, bye, girlfriend. She's floated off into the ether. It's a fun little speedrun where the RNG can be unfortunate, but adapting to it's a lot of fun.
Well done, Will. For she is avenged.
And the tear of the gods is safe.
Is it true? What he said about this tear?
It is true.
Oh, yeah, and we find out that the Tear of the God lets you talk to gods, which seems like a big deal, but it never really comes up after
We've been
this.
victorious in a minor skirmish only. The battle is not yet won.
Come along, Will. Brother Solon can explain it.
Yeah, and with typical late 90s hubris, they really thought they were going to get 2 more games out of this, which,
Your Highness.
no, absolutely not. I don't think this game did enough sales-wise, and regardless, Sierra Studios was about to get tanked financially anyway shortly after this, but this is a cool game. It has a kind of a strange development history, and I'm really pleased that they were able to get out something as cool as it was. Anyway, I will leave you all to it. I believe Paladin Quest is coming up here in a little bit, so thank you all and enjoy the rest of the marathon.